Stipe Miocic is now undeniably the GOAT of the UFC heavyweights, and arguably any MMA fighter at the heavyweight division that there has ever been. At least for now, until Francis Ngannou finally gets his chance, which is probably going to be delayed. We'll get into that. And he'll hold the belt for 20 years or until he feels like dropping it. But ladies and gentlemen, it's time to recap UFC 252, and I'm joined alongside by UFC correspondent Blake Campbell. Blake, we had some tremendous amount of action on Saturday night, and I can't wait to get into things.
It was a solid pay per view. I don't know. I wouldn't have wanted to pay $65 for it, but
But that's
solid.
why I never pay.
It was solid. It was entertaining.
Mhm.
Entertaining night.
Hey, but if we want to get things started, we didn't even have to pay for this. With the early prelims, you had Kai Kamaka taking this fight on a 1 week notice against Tony Kelly. And our very first fight of the night, first fight of the early prelims, first fight of anything, gets fight of the night honors. Man, this one was a ripper of a fight. I was able to catch it. Like, I got off of work, immediately turned on, just started. It was just, I can't tell you how high the pace was in this fight. It looked like Colby Covington, but both fighters were him for 3 rounds. It was unreal. The only time the fight ever slowed down was for Kai Kamaka took a little kick off the groin, stopped it for a few minutes, but that was with like a minute 30 to go in the fifth, and then they just started to duke it out again. It was a tremendously fun fight. I do agree with the judges scoring this to Kai. Phenomenal fight from him, especially on that 1 week notice, as I mentioned. But Tony Kelly did not look bad at all. I enjoyed the hell out of this, and it was a phenomenal way to start the night. And also, the other fight in the early prelims, we had Chris Dawkins and Parker Porter, whatever the hell you want to call him. I called him the re-embodiment of Butterbean. Boy looks like a ball, is what I'll say. But this was a fun little slugfest. It only lasted about 4.5 minutes till Chris Dawkins landed some clean shots around the jaw of Porter, and he took him out with that KO. But that's not what we're here for. Great action in the early prelims, but that's not what we're here for, Blake. Let's get things into the prelims now when we actually have to start paying. Nope, still didn't have to pay for this. Still on ESPN, luckily. But, still got to pay for cable. But we were saying on the preview show that Yoder has fought a lot of tough competition. Her record does not demonstrate the type of fighter in skill level that she has. What do you think of this fight with Yoder and Souza?
It really surprised me how well Yoder came out and applied the pressure, especially standing up against Souza.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Souza ended up doing enough to get the W. I could have even seen it going towards Yoder, to be completely honest.
Very
I thought
well.
she was
Yeah.
piecing her up a little bit, especially towards the end there. But I think this fight just went to show what Ashley Yoder's made out of again. I mean, she's just a stud in there, really.
Mm-hmm.
She's always putting out pretty good performances. She always seems like she's not afraid to, stand in there and bang
Mm-hmm.
and really do some damage and not be afraid to take some damage as well in doing so. So I mean, I think her stock kind of stays the same, so to say. And
Mm-hmm.
Souza, she beats a game opponent and is ready for another step. I'd say upwards towards the next level of competition.
Exactly. And Yoder's record may read 7-6. Souza's record now reads 14-2, which is great. But Yoder has not really faced. She might have faced one opponent in the UFC that we can say isn't super tough. But besides that, all like we covered this mostly in the previous show, but she's really only fought studs, and I don't have anything bad to say about her. It was a great fight and could have gone either way. Then the next fight on the prelims was TJ Brown and Dan Chavez in the featherweight bout. This one did go the distance with Dan Chavez getting the dub. Honestly, I don't really have too much to say about this fight. It was a fun fight. It was a good fight, but at the same time, it was definitely not anything that really stood out in comparison to the other fights on this card.
Agreed. Next.
All right, from that, we get a performance of the night bonus with Verna Jandiroba getting the quick submission on Felice Herrig. And Herrig did not look like she even stood the chance against Verna.
No, I mean it just looked like they were on two completely different skill levels. And I don't know if that is completely the case. I mean, I think Herrig was coming off a pretty lengthy layoff.
Hmm.
I can't remember the exact. I know it was for sure longer than a year.
I think it's about 18 months.
Yeah, because I saw her teammate Esparza.
Hmm.
She, I think she tweeted something out or put something on Instagram, wishing her luck. But man, Jandaroba, she is a scary looking individual. God bless her. But I think she, she's taken a few beatings from the ugly stick.
Just a little bit. Well, it's tough. She's now 60-1, so she's doing tremendous in the UFC. But at the same time, she has an unfair advantage considering that her eyes look like a what you call it, an iguana
Like
or whatever.
like a freaking
Chameleon.
gecko.
Looks like a chameleon. That's unfair to Felice and any other opponent Verna because she can see everywhere at the same time. I mean,
Dude.
it's no drug, but
That
you saw
peripheral
the
vision.
she doesn't miss a thing. You saw that? I mean, I know it's not drug. It's not like any performance-enhancing substance. But, man, there needs to be a test for this, okay? Your eyes have to
You gotta use straight punches on her, bro.
into it. Right down the middle. Just with the eyes. And it was rough,
Exactly.
especially on, like, I felt bad for a guy like Joe Rogan in their post-fight interviews. Like, where is the interviewer? Where does he look? Like,
Well, at
what
least he's
eye
not,
do you
like,
look at?
in person,
Oh, that'd be
at
even
least
worse.
it's distance, it's distance interviewing luckily for him right now. So they'll get some time to kind of come up with a solution to those questions.
Man.
But yeah, I mean, this girl, she's the real deal though, isn't she?
Yeah, no, like we joke, but she's outside the octagon. I mean, she's really not that scary, but inside, she is an animal.
Who would you like to see her fight? Like, let's say we give her a top 10 opponent in the strawweight division.
She definitely gets top 10 at this point. I would put her. Give me. What about? I'll throw her against Michelle Watterson right now.
Michelle Watterson.
Michelle's sitting number 8 right now. I would enjoy that. I would. Maybe if you don't go into the top 10, you could keep it with Amanda Ribas or Angela Hill. But I like her going against Michelle Watterson. That's a good step up.
Angela Hill, that would be a good one.
There's a few good fights you can make for her next.
But I don't know, Angela, that would be a tough fight for Angela to say yes to.
Yeah. That's why top 10. Just put her in the top 10 right now. Michelle Watterson.
Oh, and I forgot her only loss in her pro career is Carla Esparza.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of her, I think her debut in UFC. So
That's what I was thinking.
that.
Michelle Larson. Maybe not the rematch with Carla next. Maybe she beats Michelle, put it against Carla. Carla probably loses this time. And then she skyrockets right into the top 5 of that strawweight division, considering how other strawweight kind of rankings jump happens. But if you want to cap off the prelims, we had a great scrap between Jim Miller and Vince Pichel. Two guys with, like as I mentioned in the preview show, two guys with very good nicknames, Jim A10 Miller and Vince from Hell Pichel. Also, I really just have to say before we get into the actual fight is that Vince was rocking one hell of a mustache on Saturday night. And I was really impressed by that. I was really impressed by his performance inside the octagon. Blake, your thoughts?
It was super back and forth. I think the way I scored it was first round Miller, second round and third round to Pichel. I thought Pichel just, you could see him kind of taking over the fight as it went on. I think the first round was more of a feeling out process for him and kind of let's see what this guy can do a little bit. And then once he got a good feel for it, you could tell that he was kind of the aggressor and the guy that he was fighting on his terms, so to say.
Yeah. Then Jim did get really close. We heard from Vince in his post-fight interview that late in that last minute of the 5th round when Jim had that guillotine in, is that Pichel was about a few seconds away from tapping. If he didn't escape right then, he's probably going to tap to that. So Jim had him really close, almost got the finish. But Vince was able to escape and to make it to the final bell, and it kind of survived.
He's kind of lucky that he got put in that guillotine in the last bit of that fight and not caught earlier, because I think for sure that sweat definitely helped him. I could not believe he popped out of that.
It was in deep. It was really in deep. It was impressive that he was able to go away, but the sweat had to play the role.
Against a savvy veteran like Jim Miller too, man. He doesn't, usually he's not too forgiving when you get put in situations like those.
So that was a tremendous break away from the submission attempt. But also credit to A10 for getting him in that predicament and was seconds away from the submission. Great fight by both gentlemen, though. Now we can break on into the main card. And we started off with actually a really fun bantamweight fight between John Dodson and Merab. It was fun, especially when, before they started the third round, how they grabbed each other's hands in the octagon and started just to yell at each other. That was
that was something. Crazy.
That was something.
When they just screamed. Oh my god.
I was like, oh man, it sounded like some Dragon Ball Z stuff, man. That was fun.
Yeah.
But these guys came to play, and it kind of played out in the same way that we thought it would.
Yeah. Merab kind of dominated a little bit.
But Dodson with phenomenal takedown defense, too. He was like, I think Merab was only like 2 for 19.
Well, I wouldn't say takedown defense. I would say...
Or how he's able to get up after it.
Yeah, the way that he was able to get up. Good defense off his back, or, just being able to stay off of his back. Mm-hmm. He wasn't... Merab, unlike his last fight, he was able to take the guy down and hold him down as well. This fight, there was just no chance in that happening. No. So, I mean, he was racking up the points with the takedowns, but he was still, I feel like he was still winning the striking battle too. That's the thing. Too. Dodson just seemed like he didn't really commit to anything in that fight, and never really had Merab in trouble really at all.
No, Merab always controlled the pace of this fight, but also he controlled the striking of this fight, as he was total strikes 88-31 in his favor, and Dvalishvili also was 50 compared to 27 in the significant strikes, and he only did get those 2 takedowns. So I will have to say that Dodson.
So it was 2 out of what though? Like 12?
It was 2 out of 19.
Oh my god, that's crazy. Yeah. 2 out of 19 takedowns. That pace. How many strikes did he throw? You looking at the stats right now?
Yeah. Who are you asking for?
Merab. How many strikes did he
Merab,
throw?
He threw 171 total strikes.
171 total strikes.
Takedown attempts.
19 takedowns over 15
What is his
minutes.
cardio program?
Dude, that would be one of the most frustrating individuals to fight. That's like a Khabib, but in the 35-pound division. And
could actually keep striking, too.
Well, Khabib could probably strike a little bit.
Striking isn't bad, but the output of Dvalishvili was
he's putting out
phenomenal.
Output like crazy.
Yeah, that's hardly a match. And if he keeps up, he could just be like the Colby Covington of the division, if we want to compare him to anyone, especially in terms of output. Almost Colby is matched by almost no one, unless we're talking Merab over here.
Hey, he's a problem, man. Who's he gonna fight next? That's gonna be a super tough test for whoever now, I would think, after beating Dodson.
Fight next. He's now 15. Dodson was 12. Could you put him against Cody Stamann?
Yeah, I guess you could.
Maybe a Sun Sal?
But it's tough. A fighter that's on a win usually wants to fight another guy that's on a win.
Yeah.
Stamann's on a loss.
Song Yadong did win.
True. That could be a matchup. That'd be
interesting.
There's some possibilities out there for Merab.
Stuff in there.
But he's got to get I'd say like towards the bottom, obviously, of the top 15 opponent next. Because that Dodson win, I mean, the way he just shut Dodson out like that.
Was remarkable.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Super impressive.
And if he keeps up, he's going to be a problem in that bantamweight division. Now, if we want to move on to the featherweights, a performance of the night fight by Daniel Pineda, and a very disappointing, performance by Herbert Burns.
Disappointing week, I guess you could say. Really, loses 20% of his purse, doesn't make weight, just has kind of a lackluster performance. Mm-hmm. Didn't really look like himself out there. I mean, this guy's another guy that came in with a lot of steam. A lot of hype coming in behind this guy. His brothers, soon to be challenging for the world championship pretty soon.
Should still be next in line.
And Herbert Burns, during the broadcast leading up to it, they were even touting him as being possibly better than his brother. That his brother actually says that my little brother Herbert Burns, is better than me everywhere. You know, you just haven't seen him yet.
I don't know now.
So it's pretty disappointing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be heartbreaking, really, for him, because I mean,
wasn't the only hype train that got put on the brakes tonight or on Saturday night.
I mean, this fight was supposed to be kind of a layup, really.
Yeah.
And fighting a seasoned vet, you know, nothing against Pineda, because I mean, dude came out there and kicked this guy's ass.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, like you said, all credit to Pineda too for this performance. It's not Burns
looking
just
at
sucking,
this fight. Yeah,
but, man,
looking at this fight, you wouldn't think Herbert Burns would get sparked.
No, especially not a TKO like that, because he got beat up on the ground pretty bad. Pineda had a solid fight with him. A lot of credit to him. He does deserve that extra $50K, and it's weird to where the UFC goes with Herbert Burns next. I guess maybe they want to keep him as is. Maybe give another guy that was kind of around Daniel Pineda.
No, you just give him another fight. It's not a big deal. It just, you know, you don't have that
just a little bump of the road,
fast rise. He's in the featherweight division, so I mean, these things happen. Mm-hmm. In that division, you're gonna get losses, just like in the bantamweight division, you're gonna get losses.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many good guys in that division.
Now, with our second heavyweight fight of the night, first one on the main card, we had two guys that were very in curious positions. We had Junior Dos Santos coming into this fight looking amazing, looking in arguably the best shape of his career, at least from like a physical standpoint, from just like how spectacle standpoint. Then you also, now on the other hand, you had Jairzinho Rozenstruik, who was coming off his first loss of his career, and there was a devastating knockout in the first 20 seconds of the fight to the biggest, heaviest hitter in all of the UFC. And I was worried that he was going to be one of those guys that takes his first loss and then drops the second one right after that. But he proved us wrong. He was able to get a really clean knockout over Junior Dos Santos there in the second round. Your thoughts, Blake?
He proved you wrong. Let's get that.
Sorry, he proved me wrong. He proved me wrong.
Man, this fight was fun. Junior Dos Santos comes out looking sharp. He was kind of piecing up.
Also had a great mustache too. The mustache was looking good.
Definitely. JDS had a good mustache. Shout out to who else had the good mustache?
Pichel. Great mustache.
Did Stipe have his mustache? No, he didn't have his mustache.
But he had the new hair.
He had the glasses and the Superman hair.
Oh, yeah.
Solid. Back to the fight. So Rozenstruik and JDS. JDS, I thought, came out looking really sharp in the first round, connecting pretty well with his striking. That second round, though, comes around, and Jairzinho Rozenstruik decides to just go full beast mode and pop this dude with what was it, like a right hook, I want to say?
He got him with the right. Then he got him against the cage, him with like a small left, and him over again with the right, which dropped Dos Santos.
Yeah,
then
just
some gnarly,
pounced on him like a tiger.
Yeah. That, he really showed us why he was 10-0 before he took on Ngannou. You know?
That was man, that hyped me up so much, because for the heavyweight division, I think that's super necessary. Especially with we had the potential of both DC and Stipe stepping away. So it was like, dang, that sucks. There's a legitimate number one, but everyone else underneath is just kind of, it'd be like a light heavyweight division kind of.
Yeah, but now
situation.
This is where we go after this fight, Blake. Rozenstruik, great knockout, a lot of strength. The next fight for him should be against the best knockout artist of the heavyweight division in history, in Derek Lewis. Rozenstruik, Derek Lewis, give that to me. That could headline fight night.
Isn't Blades and Lewis supposed to fight?
Nothing yet.
Or are they just talking?
Nothing yet. It's just talk. But I prefer Rozenstruik and Lewis. I prefer that.
Rozenstruik and Lewis.
I think it's almost a better matchup for Lewis too.
Yeah, that'd be fun. It'd be a good matchup. Yeah, it's definitely it's probably a better matchup for Lewis. He'd probably rather fight that fight
instead of a wrestler.
then get wrestle fudged
Break avoiding the censor. Let's go.
by what's his name? By Curtis Blades.
Yep.
elbows from freaking.
It's one hell of a
Jesus
save.
Christ
Like, I
himself.
gotta give you credit for that real quick. Good
Thank you,
job.
bro.
Proud of you, man. Keep it sponsor
Trying to
friendly.
turn a corner around here, you know, my filthy foul mouth.
No, I only cuss hella off camera.
Yeah,
Oh man.
we all do that though.
Oh yeah. But I think I prefer Curtis Blades and Lewis could be a fun fight, but from a kind of just how the fight would go, it's gonna be a gnarly stand up knockout fight if we go Rosenstruck and Lewis, and that's the one that I would prefer. I think that's the one you sell. That probably sells better for the UFC as well.
Unless they do the Francis versus Derek Lewis thing.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Well, because Ngannou was scared for some reason, and Lewis had a back injury going to that. I don't think we'll get something that bad anytime soon. But also,
that was on the main card for DC versus Stipe, the first one, right?
That was the first one.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, so let's hope not.
Crazy.
Let's hope not. But here we go. Arguably one of the, I guess, almost more could you call it disappointing? Or
biggest letdown of the night. Let's not sugarcoat it. I'll take over this one. This one was by far and away. This was by far and away the biggest letdown of the whole freaking year so far. As a UFC fan, as a fanatic, as a guy that is looking for the next big thing in this sport to get into, to get interested in, to get hooked on, this was a this was a hole in the sail, so to say. And the Sugar Show, it's I don't think it's over, but it's definitely on what do you call it, intermission?
It's on intermission.
Yeah, it's on like a little halfway point or like third of the way through the show type deals where you get a little popcorn or soda, maybe feel good about yourself for a second, wait for him to come back. Let's get into the fight though, man, because I'm telling you, I was really, really disappointed by this.
Yeah. What disappointed you the most with this one?
I mean, everything, dude. I'll get into it right now. The fight started. I thought Sean looked fine. Sean looked, in my opinion, like Sean.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing his feints. He was, connecting pretty decently. He was hitting some good body kicks, in my opinion. It looked like he was connecting his shin to the abdominal of Chito Vera, like doing pretty well in the striking department. And
they were loud kicks.
Size advantage.
They were loud kicks.
Yeah. And so, dude, of course, my freaking stream, dude, starts bugging out. So I have to watch this one on the Mexican broadcast for some reason. Yeah, so it's like a Mexican I'm sorry, not Mexican broadcast. I'm
Spanish.
Spanish broadcast. And so I literally cannot understand a word these guys are saying. And I'm like, what the heck?
Did it sound cool, though?
It sounded it was just one dude.
Oh.
So he was just kind of getting hyped. But I mean, I could tell something started becoming wrong with Sean. And another thing, too, about the broadcast, it was all fuzzy, too. It sucked.
Damn.
It was just the worst.
Bad timing.
But I could still see the blobs pretty much. I could still see what they're doing for the most part. Like I said, Sean looked fine up until the point to where Chito had that kick that it looked like it got, in my opinion, when I saw that kick live, I brushed it off. I was like, that's nothing, And then sure enough, about 10-15 seconds left after that, Sean basically, like, to me, it looked like he rolled his ankle. Like, that's what I thought real time.
That's what it looked like.
He just rolled his ankle, and then something, screwed up with his, with his leg, and then he just had to kind of shell up and take it. Because, I think at that point he knew, like, there's no way I'm going to recover. I'm not going to be able to put weight on this foot. So I think Herb Dean knew that too, maybe by a noise he made or something happened in there.
Mm-hmm.
But what's your opinion, man? I know a lot of people out there have been saying that they think it's a fluke injury, and I still don't think there's enough. And Sean still hasn't come out and publicly addressed.
Well, we haven't seen anything yet because the X-rays were negative, right. But they still have to wait for the swelling to go down before we get the MRIs, before we can see if there is an actual injury. Now, I don't want to completely discredit Chito Vera because I don't know if he fully cause the injury of Sean O'Malley because we don't know what the injury is yet. But it did look like that check kick and then the kick to him. It did look like it could have done some damage. But it's tough. I really don't have an exact opinion. I know it's kind of a cop-out, but I don't have an exact opinion until we actually get the medical results for Sugar Sean. But at the same time, it's a big boost to Chito Vera for him to be able to shut down Sean O'Malley like this, whether you believe that he did or he didn't. The fact is that he TKO'd Sean O'Malley for his first loss ever. And that's no small sentiment, and that's no kind of bad thing on him. And this is going to be a blemish on Sean O'Malley's career moving forward. Now it depends on how the best way for the UFC to go and for Sean to go is that assuming he's healthy, assuming that he's somehow healthy, he gets into his next fight as quick as possible, give him another kind of top 15 kind of guy, bottom of the top 15, and hopefully he gets a win there, gets back on track. But if he doesn't, and it lingers and they wait for him to give him another fight if he is somehow healthy, that's probably the worst thing that they could do at this point.
I think it kind of depends on him. It depends. Yeah, is there a serious injury or not?
It all comes down, like any opinion I have, though, all comes down to what if Sean O'Malley is actually injured and how serious the injury is.
Right, of course.
Yeah,
of course. That's like the only point that needs to be made. Be made really about scheduling his next fight. But for him, really, there's a lot of things that need to be unraveled here. I mean, this is a guy that operated based off confidence, swagger, that star power. This is going to be a huge blow to him. I think. Just on the outside looking in, I know for him, he's probably saying, this is nothing. I got this.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about it. This guy's been undefeated. That's what he's been riding on. His whole, kind of time in the UFC. That's what they've touted him as, the undefeated prospect. He's gonna have to live with talking all that crap, and then
dyeing his hair TKO. The color of the Ecuadorian flag, where Chito Vera is from. He kind of had to eat it.
That is the risk you take when you do those shenanigans, when you try to be. You got to give him credit for it, right? Because if he wins,
then it looks amazing.
He garners even more attention. He gets even more fans. People are screaming his name even louder. Loses, he's gonna look like a chump, and that's the thing that he's gotta figure out. Okay, how do I keep my fans to still stay rocking with me, which I don't think he's gonna have an issue with.
No, at least in his dedicated fan base, which is pretty large, is going to stick with him anyway. It's those people that were kind of on the fence just now in seeing the start of him. Now those ones are the ones that might be kind of
win those back,
scared away. Like I said, all comes down to his next fight.
Yeah, and so it's gonna be super interesting, man, because he was riding a kind of like a one-way kind of train to the top, really.
Well, the thing is that there was talks like if he fought Cody Garbrandt, there was a Cody Garbrandt fight in the talks.
It's crazy to me, right?
It's crazy.
You guys understand why I was saying why stuff's so ridiculous before now, because it's just like. There's levels to this.
And also, I'm not saying that he can't
be on the same level, but right now he hasn't reached that level that Cody reached. I mean, when Cody was 25 and had the belt, like this dude went on a tear. I mean, he was knocking dudes out. Everyone they put in front of him, short notice, any fight didn't matter, and then starts talking crap to the champ, and everything else that comes with that. Sean, it's like he's beating up these kind of. I mean, I don't want to say trash cans, but he's beating up these unranked guys that are like maybe top 30 at the best. And he's talking all this crap, doing all this crazy extra stuff. You got to be ready for the backlash after that. That's going to be the key, I think, that I can't stress enough. Yeah, how is he going to handle this loss? That's what I'm most interested in.
I think he just has to, his best bet is just to take it and accept it and just take the humble way out of this because there's almost no other way.
It seems like he already has. I mean, he posted that he was humbled on Instagram, and he shouted out the fans, said he loved them on Twitter. So I mean, he's gonna have to make an appearance here soon, though, and address the fact
probably pop up on his YouTube page soon. probably. But that was a disappointment. That was a
Do you think
letdown.
yes or no, he got his ass kicked? That's what I want to hear.
He didn't get his ass kicked. He just got beat.
You don't think he got his ass kicked?
No, he just got beat.
Okay. Dude, I'm a big Sean O'Malley fan.
I know you are. Anything
And
got
I
his
think
ass.
the opposite.
That's fair. I'm
Even-
torn on this
I don't
one.
know, man.
I'm so torn.
Okay, the only way, like we said before, that he did not get his ass completely kicked is if he has some type of major injury.
But
Like,
if he's
something has to
healthy,
be torn.
then yeah, he got his ass whooped.
If he's healthy, he got his
Yeah,
ass.
I'll admit
because
that.
anything that happens in a fight, man, that's just gonna happen. Like, what if Usman freaking broke Masvidal's foot when he was stomping on it? You know, that's part of the fight game.
It changes things. Injuries definitely going to change things. That's where most of my opinion is going to come from. But of course, we don't have access to that as a recording, so we'll just have to wait and see. But going from a letdown of a fight like this, the main event, the trilogy, the fight for the term to be known as the GOAT, did not disappoint in any way, at least in my opinion and the opinion of the masses. We had Stipe Miocic defending his belt against Daniel Cormier, successfully doing so in a 5-round fight. After the trilogy, Stipe won 2-1, and they fought each other for 50 minutes. We had two of the greatest MMA fighters to ever do it fight for 50 minutes, and man, I enjoyed every single second of those. Blake, what did you think about this fight? Did you have a good time like I did?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty solid fight. I don't think obviously it wasn't as entertaining as the first two. It didn't end in a spectacular fashion.
It almost did.
That was it was very close round two. Very, very, very close round two.
About 10 more seconds, he probably would have finished him.
Even 5 more.
Yeah.
I think he just needed to land about 2 or 3 more shots. I think, and DC would have been out of there.
I think the story of this though is how good Stipe looked, and like you were saying before the show, how he looked like the heavyweight in this fight compared to DC, and how I was saying that his chin is still there and is still made of pure granite.
Yeah, no, he took Daniel's best punches and still walked pretty much straight through him. I mean, I could really only remember him slightly buckling maybe once in that fight, and I think it was early on too.
I think it was in the first round.
Yeah, and so, that just goes to show you Stipe is just the bigger guy, and that's never going to change. And so that's why it's always been kind of a tough task and always a spectacle really for even the casual of MMA fans, because we just want to know, like, how do the GOATs stack up against each other. But I think another thing that this match highlighted was, we gotta figure something out for these eye pokes. It sucks that it seems like a lot of the really important fights, a lot of the fights that hold a lot of weight, always comes back to an eye poke.
You want to know how we fix this? Just use Trevor Whitman's gloves.
That's what everyone says, but I don't know why that's not been.
Well, the reason was it was explained when Justin Gaethje and Trevor Whitman appeared on the Joe Rogan podcast. So apparently the deal is, I'm not sure if you listened to this or not, but the deal is that the UFC is interested and they want to use the gloves, but the thing is that they want to buy the rights and like the trademarks and the actual mental property of the gloves, instead of just buying them from Trevor Whitman. So it's the legal issues of ownership is what's holding them up right now.
They don't want to. Basically, Whitman's trying to cash out, and UFC's trying to
just buy the rights from him.
Strong arm them, into getting what they want. So it's gonna
which sucks, but because those gloves are so much better. Well, we can even see the ONE FC gloves. There's a comparison put on Twitter. Whereas if you're watching on video, is that the UFC gloves hold your fingers about right here, whereas the ONE FC gloves hold your fingers about right here. Like they're curled away and in, which might make it a little harder on the grappling, but I feel like it has more positives than negatives.
Yeah, that's the only thing that sucks. Well, I guess doesn't suck, but it makes it tricky. Is the whole in MMA there in UFC there's grappling, jiu-jitsu, all that kind of stuff. Like it would make it really tough if you had something kind of restricting your ability to extend.
But it still looks like
limbs and fingers and
the Trevor Whitman gloves are tried and true, and everyone that's worn them loves them. They're all used in training and stuff like that, and they're probably some of the that a lot of people would say they're the best gloves on the planet right now for MMA. That's the way to go. But if we want to just, I guess, get around that, can we talk about that? Just how Daniel Cormier really had his moments in this fight. He was laying some really good combos on Stipe, really good combos. But Stipe really kind of took it to Daniel when he was just absorbing those blows. He took the same elbow from the clinch or from the clinch break that knocked him out in their first fight. He took that. He was taking plenty of right hooks to the chin, just walking through those, and he was beating and controlling Cormier in the clinch.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the same fight. I got nothing else to add on that, really.
What did you think about the scoring, though? Is that some of the judges scored it 49-46, some of the judges scored it 48-47. Where were you leaning on this one?
I could see a 48-47. I really could. I mean,
how would you personally score this fight? I saw a lot of people on Twitter had the first 4 rounds split, with the 5th round being the rubber round. But I really believe that Daniel Cormier won the first one. He had Stipe wobbled. Mm-hmm. But then Stipe just took that and won the next 4.
Okay, so I thought for sure DC won round 1.
Yes.
I thought Stipe won round 2 and 3, because I think at the end of round 2 is when that really bad eye poke happened, right?
No, that was in round 3.
I'm pretty sure it was round 2.
Round 2 was just Stipe beating the hell out of Cormier. That the eye poke didn't happen until after that.
Because wasn't the eye poke at the end of the round?
It was at the end of the round, but it was at the end of round 3.
I'm pretty sure it was round 2, because round 3 he came out and he was already screwed over.
He was just wobbled by. He was still wobbled out of the corner by the ground and pound. But what happened, it was laying round 3, Blake, where they were both kind of going at it, and there's about 10 seconds left in the round. DC kind of contested that. He went over to, he yelled at Mark right before the fight ended, or before the round ended. That's how it happened.
Yeah, it was 3rd round.
Yeah, see, he's the correspondent.
But who sucks at picking and didn't get fucking jack shit right this week?
Oh, now you dropped the bomb, Blake. Unreal. Where are the censors now?
You're trash.
You're off the show. I'm. No matter, you still haven't won, and I will always be the inaugural champ. So
I still
don't even
won.
give me that. You haven't.
Okay.
You haven't.
Okay.
You haven't.
Okay. Dude, your record the last couple times is atrocious. I don't think you've even got. You don't even have a winning record the last.
No. But we don't need to talk about this, so Blake.
You need to get better. Okay.
You just need to win.
I've
the
never
belt,
had a losing
okay?
record.
You just need to win the belt. I think that's.
I've always gotten more fights right than I've gotten wrong. You can't relate to that.
No, but also, champ. Okay.
You can't relate to that.
I just gotta say champ, Blake.
Hey, everyone gets lucky. Everyone gets lucky.
But now we just have to talk about where the division goes from this. Earlier Monday morning, Daniel Cormier did formally announce his retirement from the UFC. And then news. So there's kind of like our 252 wrap up. But now we need to talk about what happened in the afternoon of Monday, and that is Jon Jones announcing that he's vacated the light heavyweight belt. He is staying in the USADA testing pool. He's seeing where he's going to go now, and all signs are pointing to him moving up to the heavyweight division. Oh man, did this just get a little bit more interesting, and oh man, did Francis Ngannou probably going to get screwed over again.
I don't think so.
You don't?
Nah.
I hope not. I really do hope not.
I don't think Jon Jones has any interest in fighting in the next 6 months. I mean, you pretty much heard Dana White earlier this year say, you don't expect Jon Jones and don't expect Conor McGregor in 2020. So he'll probably be back 2021. And I'm assuming Stipe will have fought before then. I would think he'll probably be on maybe like a December card, the late December card or the New Year's card, one that's close to that holiday. So, because I That's quite a. I guess it's already August, huh? We'll see.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just. I think Stipe kind of holds all the cards on this one because John Jones has to first of all come up because I mean this is all purely speculation right now.
Yeah.
And
100%.
so if John Jones really is coming up, great. If not, right now the only people that I think are even qualified to even be talked about probably Blades and Ngannou, right?
And Ngannou definitely deserves some more. The problem
And
right
Ngannou's beat Blades twice, so I mean there's
Miocic, I'm probably not going to
answer.
see that heavyweight title be defended soon, because he's probably going to have a somewhat lengthy medical suspension. Per MMA fighting, the reporting company, he's waiting on clearance from his eye specialist. That's what most of this medical suspension is going to be depending upon. So we'll see from there, but we're probably not going to see Stipe for I'd say 6 months, maybe more. Maybe around the 6 month mark.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No,
Like I said, either the end of this year
early next
or
year.
probably be early next.
And I would love to see. There's a lot of opportunities that you open up for John Jones if he does indeed move up to the heavyweight division, which is, of course, still speculation as of right now. He's, without a doubt, probably going to be fighting top 5. Probably, knowing the UFC, he's going to be fighting for the heavyweight belt if he does move up. We could very well, it's so easy, Blake, we were talking about this, you especially point out of how easy it would be to market that if CP Miocic is still champion, you have the GOAT heavyweight champion against the GOAT light heavyweight champion. It writes itself.
And it doesn't matter really if it's Stipe or Francis Ngannou
because then you have a superhuman against one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters of all time.
Like on paper, people would probably be more excited to see that matchup than they would Stipe, even though Stipe is probably the all-around. I think everyone can agree he's the all-around better MMA fighter.
Mm-hmm.
That he proved that in their first matchup too. So I mean, I think the more fan-friendly matchup would be Ngannou, but obviously on paper, like just look at how that sells itself. Greatest light heavyweight champion ever in the history of mixed martial arts, and then greatest heavyweight ever of UFC history.
And mixed martial arts,
too easy.
I would say so too.
It's just way too easy. So I mean, it doesn't. That's why I'm thinking Stipe and Ngannou, they can go ahead and fight first.
Yep.
And in that way, this whole time, John Jones can get used to, putting on that muscle mass he probably needs to add. And then maybe even in the meantime, maybe he does come back early next year and fights on the same card as them, or headlines another card, but has a warm-up fight.
Who would you like?
Kind of like
so going with the current rankings, obviously they're not going to be the same. But
in heavyweight?
Yeah, in heavyweight. Obviously, they're going to change by the time, John Jones gets a fight. But him and Curtis Blades could be a very interesting matchup.
No, don't do
think
that to him.
Not even?
That'd be rough. Because Curtis Blades is a huge dude.
So just bad matchup for him?
That'd be a bad matchup for John
What
Jones.
about Derek Lewis? A little more favorable.
That wouldn't be terrible.
See, the thing is that the problem with John Jones, this, of course, not all of his talent in kind of dominance comes from his reach, but that's definitely a big part when he's in that light heavyweight division. But the problem is once he moves up to the heavyweight division where everyone is bigger and taller, he loses that advantage. Everyone is everyone's a specimen. So John Jones has to rely way more on his technique rather than his reach or his size. And I would love to see kind of how he deals with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just an interesting fight. I feel like once you get to that top 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, even like the Volkovs and people like that, it's just like, man, he's 7 feet. He's basically like 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
And
hell, what about
seeing John Jones fight that guy would be pretty interesting too.
Aleksei Olenek against John Jones could still be.
That's the only one where I really wouldn't care too much because I think that's John Jones.
The name value.
I think John Jones is one of those guys that really is able to. I think still he's really able to kind of show his dominance.
I think so.
against people like that, where he's just definitely the more physical opponent of the two.
Now, if we just have all speculation, this has no meaning or relation to anything going on right now, but if you had to pick, Blake, who would win in the fight right now? John Jones or Stipe Miocic?
Right now.
Right now.
Without,
they're both healthy.
Without an elongated training camp, and
given that they have a full training camp right now.
But he's not going to have a period to put on mass like he's attempting to do right now, is what I'm saying. Like, if you're saying right now,
they both get a training camp right now.
In my opinion, the reason that John Jones is even doing all this is so he can have a chance to prepare.
How much weight do you think he should put on? Because like a lot of times when he's like his walk around weight, I think it's around like 25, 35 pounds. Is that, you think, where he should stay and just build muscle around that 225, 235 range?
I would think so, because I think Stipe will probably come in there in the
230, 235 range.
Well, he'll probably come in a little heavier, though.
You think? Stipe is around that 232, 233 mark for this fight. At least he'll weigh in.
But I think that was for Daniel. It's tough, because I don't think he's as worried about like John Jones trying to do any wrestling stuff, and he might be the one that's trying to physically impose his will on John Jones.
So you think he gets closer to like 240 for this fight?
That's where I'm thinking. Yeah, he might want to be the more physical person, because he could probably say like, man, this is gonna be his first fight. He's not really gonna know.
Show him that heavyweight dominance.
Yeah, like, is his power gonna translate? Like you haven't really been seeing John Jones just knock people out in one hit.
No.
So I mean, there's really nothing for Stipe really be fearing too much, other than just if John Jones completely outclassed him.
Right, man. But there's a lot on the line right now. We can really see it. And then also, if we just want light heavyweight, talking about that today, we got a couple hours before the whole John Jones thing was announced. There are reports that Dominic Reyes and Jan Blachowicz have agreed to a fight. They're aiming around September, I believe, but that might get pushed close to October so they get better training camps, because that is the fight to make for the vacant light heavyweight championship, in my opinion.
That's confirmed, right? It's for the vacant belt?
No, it hasn't been confirmed. It was reported that they were fighting, but the belt wasn't vacated until after that report came out. But I'm assuming
it's all about timing, brother.
Right? I'm assuming though that fight is going to be made.
Should have held off on that signature just a few more hours.
Well, I don't believe it was anything signed. I think they just like verbally agreed to it. But
they'll probably change it now too. Anyway,
that's a fight to make, correct?
There's no one else that I think deserves to fight for a heavyweight or light heavyweight.
I saw someone on Twitter making decent point that Reyes versus Santos, two guys that pushed John Jones to a split decision.
But where is Santos at right now?
Exactly. Where is Santos at? And also, he hasn't had a fight yet coming back. I think there's reports, or I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but Santos and Teixeira, Blachowicz and Reyes.
Yeah. I think Blachowicz and Reyes is the right call right now. Who did Jan lose to though recently? Who was Reyes the one that beat him? Who the hell knocked him out?
I mean, Jan. I don't believe it was Reyes, but it was his last loss was Thiago Santos.
Okay, so yeah, that's the only guy really that would have kind of a claim.
Well, if he was fully healthy, and if he had like a fight under his belt, I would say yes, Reyes and Santos. But it might just be too soon for Santos. Bad timing for him, unfortunately, but it just might be too soon. But you can very well put Santos in a number one contender fight for that.
Blachowicz deserves it, though. I mean,
yeah,
he beat Anderson.
Rockhold Souza Anderson.
KO, nasty KO. Ronaldo Souza, Luke Rockhold. He's beat Manua, Krylov, Cannonier. He's beat some good people.
In his last eight fights, he's 7-1. That's one hell of a streak. You know?
It's crazy too, because a lot of those fights that I just listed, those were rematches. Like the Manua fights, Anderson, those are all rematches, fights that he got back. That not only did he lost the first, like he lost those by decision first time, comes around and finishes them the next time they fight. Well, except for Manua, he won a decision on that one too. But he's an impressive fighter, man. I think a Blachowicz versus Reyes fight's going to be pretty interesting. I think Reyes has probably got the tools to get that done.
I think he has the edge, but that's going to be a fun fight for that vacant belt.
It's going to be a fun fight.
For sure.
Those guys show up.
Also, it's always fun when you have, no matter what, there's going to be a new champion. That's always,
new champ.
Fun.
Santos will be breathing down their neck.
Now, this is the third time that Jon Jones has been, or that the light heavyweight championship has been removed from Jon Jones, but still he has not actually lost that championship, which is remarkable. It's really weird too. He's lost the championship 3 times without losing a fight.
This is Jan's time too, man, because he's 37 years old.
It's like now or never.
I think Reyes sparks him. Yeah. Reyes is a beast, man.
He's really good.
You see that guy?
He's really good.
Huge.
He's really good. Unless the only thing he really loses is a contest with him and Forrest Griffin, if we're talking that one Toyo Tires commercial, which is still gold.
Yeah. Poor him and Pettis, right?
Him and Pettis both lost, but also Forrest Griffin. He's Forrest Griffin. Or you can have Francis Ngannou in your truck that you buy, and I'd be very okay with that.
That's better than any insurance you can get.
Imagine some dude just like sideswipe you and get a little argument, just roll down the window with Francis Ngannou. That's pretty good protection right there, Chief. I'll tell you that much.
Like, yeah, I'll have that checked to you.
Yeah, but UFC 252 to wrap things up was tremendous, phenomenal fight. Daniel Cormier, honestly, thank you for his career, for everything he's accomplished. He's one of the all-time greats, and he's easily going to the Hall of Fame. If it just kind of depends on timing, I guess, but probably soon. And then also, it's still going to be nice to hear him on the commentary booth, commentating these fights, because he's great doing that as well. Now he's probably might go into coaching too, so who knows the next batch. But Stipe is your heavyweight GOAT. Jon Jones is no longer your heavyweight champion, and it's going to be really crazy to see how things line up later down the road in the UFC. But with that being said, I am your host, Ross Allen. I have been joined by UFC correspondent Blake Campbell, and it's been a good time. Blake, thank you, and I know we all enjoyed the hell out of that night.